Today I'm going to look at 2 Corinthians chapter 11, and it's going to be around verse 5. And Paul is writing to the Corinthians, and he's addressing an issue where they have listened to some preachers that came around to Corinth, and they were preaching false gospel. They were preaching things that weren't true, but the Corinthians had liked them. They saw that these preachers were really good speakers, and they were charismatic and just really impressive in the way they presented themselves. But what they were saying was actually wrong. And so Paul wrote a letter to them and was talking to them about this, and he's comparing himself to these other preachers who came. And here's what he says in verse 5: I do not think I am the least inferior to these, quote, super apostles. I may indeed be untrained as a speaker, but I do have knowledge. We have made this perfectly clear to you in every way. And another translation says, but if you put up with these big shot apostles, why can't you put up with simple me? I'm as good as they are. It's true that I don't have their voice, haven't mastered that smooth eloquence that impresses you so much. But when I do open my mouth, I at least know what I'm talking about. We haven't kept anything back. We let you in on everything. And what caught my attention about that is the important thing Paul wanted to point out is, hey, I'm not as good a speaker as these guys. I'm not a trained speaker, and I'm not as smooth as those other guys. But here's the important part. I have the knowledge, and I know what I'm talking about, and I'm telling you the whole truth. And so for us as Christians, maybe this can be a reminder that, yeah, sometimes we may not know how to say something very eloquently, or we may not be the best speakers, but when we know the truth, it's our job to make sure that we tell that to people. Even if we're not sure that we can say it exactly right, the important part is to get the truth out there and to speak the truth. So sometimes we're afraid, especially to talk about things of faith. We're afraid to confront someone or to say to someone, well, I think that if they say, that they don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe in God, and we might be afraid to step out and say, oh, well, but I do. And this is why. It's okay for us to talk about what we believe, and it's important that we don't be afraid to say it because we think we're not very good speakers. Paul, the Apostle Paul, wasn't a very good speaker. He wasn't a trained speaker. He didn't think very highly of himself. But what did he do? He went out and he said the truth all over his part of the world. And so that's what we need to do. If we know the truth and we have truth, then we need to say it and not be afraid or worried that we're not very good at it. Hope you have a great day.